What's up, guys? You're listening to another episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. I'm here with Janaiah, the co-founder of Jade and Kai Co., one of my loyal, I could say, social media followers. Janaiah, thank you so much for taking some time to jump on the podcast with us today.
Andy, thank you so much. I'm so eager to jump into it. And yeah, just really excited to be here and to have a conversation.
I'm making an effort to do more interviews with my Instagram followers. I just call everyone students. That's just what I'm just gonna say, because I classify everyone, whether you're a podcast listener, whether you're a follower on social media, whether you've purchased a course or my highest level coaching programs, I would say we're all students, right? I'm a student of other people that I haven't bought their courses because I'm learning from them. So making an effort to do more podcast interviews for you guys with students of mine so you guys can hear other stories, right? Other stories from people who maybe are implementing some of the strategies that we're teaching, and then just, get a feel for their journey and their success. So Janaiah is here to tell us a little bit about her brand, her business journey. So Janaiah, let's just start there really quickly. Just, if you can, just give us a quick maybe intro about you, your family, and maybe what motivated you to start your brand on Amazon.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. So my husband and I, Maurice and I, live in the Bay Area. I'm a mom of two and we're expecting our third. And we are both in the tech industry. I've been in fintech for almost 10 years, went to school, got the degree, got the MBA, kind of worked my way up the corporate ladder. And there's always just been something missing. And there's always been like a little bit of a creative itch for both of us that we really haven't been able to scratch. And I just happened upon your podcast, Andy, when I was looking up ways to make passive income or ways to start your own business, just all of those little things that we've always just frankly wanted to explore. And it was really during a stint of paternity leave and maternity leave that we both had together with our son, our second born, where we really just wanted to get creative and use some of the downtime to look into starting some kind of small business. I come up from a family of entrepreneurs, and so does my husband. And so I think it's just always kind of been in our blood to start something of our own and create our own business. And so we really just took some time to understand, what is it that we're really passionate about? What do we spend a lot of our time on? What could fit into our lifestyles? Because at that point, and still currently, we're not in a position to walk away from our job fully, while that might be in the cards later in life. But we really just wanted to have something we could call our own, and something that we could also put our kids' names literally on, and to kind of help them later down the road in terms of teaching them about business, teaching them about money management, and, managing their own element of ownership. So that's really what motivated it for us. And I would describe myself as kind of the more creative side, and my husband really loves kind of the inventory side, the supply chain side of things. And so we happened upon baby items, baby essentials, because that's really what we've been doing for the past 3-4 years, and continuing on. And after having gone through so many different baby products and textiles and things, and figuring out what it is that we like and dislike, and things that work with our baby's skin and things that they enjoy, we basically curated a line of baby essentials, mostly our signature organic hooded towels, and have really just kind of gone from there. And it's been a really challenging but fulfilling ride so far, and we're just really glad to be on this journey.
You said so many great things there, and the point that I want to make for you guys that are listening, you might have to hit the rewind button. Okay, if you didn't catch it, just go ahead and hit like the little back 30 on your podcast app and listen to it again. But I don't think I heard once right then, Janaiah, I don't think I heard you say the word money one time. I may have been wrong. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the recording and see. But I don't think you said the word money one time. Now, guys, keep this in mind. I don't want you to think like, if you're the person that's like, oh, I want to start a brand or I want to start a business to make money, that you're a bad person. Absolutely not. Let's be honest. At our deepest core, yes, like we start businesses to make money. But when I asked, what kind of motivated you to start your own brand on Amazon, I love the answer that you gave, where you said you wanted to scratch a creative itch. You wanted to do something that was interesting, that you could be passionate about, that you could teach your kids something about, that you could make a difference, that you could solve problems like in the baby industry, how you could make things better. So you are already in the right mindset of building a brand that's actually going to be successful. I've talked to so many people now, like over the past, 2-3 years of doing this, doing the podcast, social media, that whole thing. People DM me, right? And I hear product ideas and I review people's brands and their accounts. And what I've noticed more and more, the more people that I talk to, the more accounts that I review, is the ones that are doing very well. And very, when I say very well, guys, like, don't get me wrong, very well does not have to mean like, oh, I'm selling $10 million a year. Very well just means like progress, like making sales, having some sort of growth. Like if you're growing, you're doing better today than you did yesterday or last week. Like that is success in my opinion. The brands that are successful are the brands that are focused on actually solving a problem with something that they're interested and passionate about. The brands out there that are struggling, that are like, I'm not getting the sales I want, things aren't going, like we're tanking, like bad stuff. I look at their products or even their brands, and I try not to I try not to embarrass people, right? I'm not trying to humiliate or make people feel bad, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like, are you really passionate about this? Like why? Like why this? And then they wonder why they're not growing, they're not having success, is because they're not doing the stuff that leads to success. And the reason they're not doing the stuff is because they don't actually enjoy it and they're not interested in it. So that's a huge key, guys, to success, is finding something that is interesting and something that you're passionate about, a problem you really want to solve. And I can almost promise you, it may not happen in 6 months or a year. It may take 2 years, may take 3 years, but I can almost promise you that if that is the mindset you're in, you will be successful eventually. Like you will get there. You will figure it out. So that was something that I really loved. And guys, if you haven't already, I mean, obviously we'll drop links and stuff to your content, but go check out their content. They've got great products, right? We'll talk more about that. But I really just wanted to touch on that really quickly because I thought you answered that question perfectly about where your motivation really is at. So about that, right? So you're still in, I would say we can call it the startup process, right? You've got products, you've been selling on Amazon, you're getting sales and all that kind of stuff. Maybe just give us, for context here, a little timeline of this Amazon journey, like the timeline of like, when did you say like, hey, let's do this, to how long it took maybe to launch that first product and where you guys are at right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Happy to go into this because looking back on it now, I'm kind of amazed at how patient I was because I am not a very patient person, and I'm surprised that we're even here. But I happened upon your podcast, Andy, almost a year ago. I think September of 2022 is when we first started listening to those first 8 episodes. And I was like, all right, this is really kind of turning a wheel in my head here. So we started doing a little bit of Jungle Scout research and, perusing through Alibaba in like Q4 of last year, and made our first few sample orders. We figured out a few products that we wanted to go with: our towels, our bamboo pajamas, and our sleep sacks. So we ran through the whole sampling process, which was frankly pretty excruciating. It's a long time to wait for samples to come in and to, test that out and to make little tweaks here and there. And then we made our first inventory order just before the end of the year, and that took a few months. And then while we were waiting for inventory to come in, I requested from our suppliers to send us completed units so we could start taking photographs and while the rest of that's being put into production. And then we officially publicly launched on social media, and we had our products available, but, kind of leading up to like a faux launch day at the end of April of this year. So that was our kind of big rollout, big launch day. So if I do the math, almost 8 months from time of, getting the ideas in our head to actually having products available on Amazon for sale.
That's right in line with what I tell people. Like when people DM me and they're like, Andy, how long does it take to launch a product? I say, most of my students take 6 to 8 months. That's like the pretty average number that I could tell people. It could take longer, you could be faster, but 6 to 8 months. So that sounds about right. So you said you launched you say April, right? Was it April or May?
End of April, yeah.
End of April. Okay. End of April. So right now it's, September, end of September, right? As we're recording this. So it's end of September. So we're about, 5 months or so in since launch. Sound about right? Yeah, sounds about right. How has that, from the launch, right? From that launch in April till now, these first 5 months, how has it gone for you so far?
It has gone great. And we have hit all of the expected problems: selling out, getting some duds in our supply, having to deal with things like managing customer service. We've hit all the road bumps, but we are kind of failing up, I would say. So we're running into those bumps. We're learning from them very quickly, and our inventory is selling quite rapidly. And I'm happy to share, we've ever since launch to date, we've just done a little over $27,000 in sales across all of our SKUs. And this is going to be the next huge, like big inventory run for us, where we are going from 28 SKUs to 62 SKUs hopefully by Prime Day. I'm really, really hoping to get that ready. But I think that's going to be the biggest next step for us. And, you mentioned it a lot in your podcast, like the biggest thing is SKUs and marketing. And that cannot be like that is so true. And those have been, I think the biggest challenges that we face is managing our marketing, managing social media. It is a grind, while also working on getting new SKUs, new photographs. It's a constant turn.
Those first few months, like of the launch phase, the first, 3 to 6 months, we could say, those are tough. Those are tough for everyone. I have to remind so many people, and here's another reminder too, if you're listening, I get DMs from people, right? And they'll be like, Andy, I just launched. I've been selling for 30 days and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I'm like, okay, like how are your sales going so far, right? Your first 30 days, how are your sales? We sold $2,000 so far in our first 30 days. We've sold 300 units, or however many units it is for that math. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? What's going wrong? Like you sold $2,000 in your first 30 days. And they're like, well, yeah, I don't know. But like, I don't know, like we were going to sell more or whatever. And I'm like, let me remind you, in our first 30 days, we sold $864. I believe, I'm trying to remember, more time goes by, I forget, but I think it was like 32 units in our first 30 days, $800. So anytime someone comes to me and in their first 30 days, they've sold more than $800, I'm just like, stop, like, don't come to me with that. Like you're already doing better than we did when we launched. Now, if someone comes to me right in their first 30 days and like, Andy, we sold 3 units, then it's like, that's pretty easy to assess. We're like, okay, I can tell you pretty quickly what you're not doing and then you're not advertising. That's the bottom line. Guys, remember, these first 3 to 6 months, they're slow for everyone. Now, you may be on social media and you might see some other Amazon person, right, like me, that shares something and they might share some posts and say, look at this person or look at us. We sold $8,000 in our first month. It's like, yeah, that's possible. That's possible. Go spend $5,000 on Amazon PPC and I guarantee you'll sell $5,000. I mean, I shouldn't say guarantee, but yeah, you could probably sell $8,000. I could go spend 20 grand on PPC in my very first month and sell 15 grand. So don't get confused when you see like crazy numbers like that in people's first month or first 2 months. There's a lot more behind the story that you don't know what's going on. They could be losing a lot of money just pumping a ton of cash into marketing. So if you're the type that's like, yeah, we started our first month, we spent $200 on PPC. Yeah, maybe you're only selling $300 your first month. That's totally fine. So just keep your expectations realistic for what you're doing, right? To launch you have 1 SKU or do you have 50 SKUs? Are you spending, $100 a day on, or $100 a month on PPC? Or are you spending $10,000 a month on PPC? All those are going to play a factor. Now, Janaiah, you mentioned you guys have faced all the challenges, right? In the first, we'll call this launch period, right? Since April, first 5-6 months or so of selling out, which is what I tell people, right? This is the best problem to have. Selling out means you sold. Like I would much rather have the problem of I sold out than the problem of crap, I haven't sold a single thing, right? So selling out, great problem to have, but frustrating because you're just like, you're so excited, you're getting some sales. Tell us a little bit. I want to ask this because I still remember to this day, this feeling. What was that feeling like for you when you got like that very first sale? Or if you don't remember, like those first few sales?
Oh, it was, we were on top of the world. We could not believe it. We couldn't believe it. I think we had taken a picture of our actual desktop computer. We were so excited. But yeah, I mean, that just proving out that, oh, someone is interested in my product through all of these tools and things we've put into place. And just to see like that, those wheels finally turning was so satisfying. And it creates a little bit of drive in you to like, okay, now let's snowball that. How do I get that to snowball in a way where it's just eventually running itself? And so that kind of just set off a little spark for us to say like, okay, let's try, different things. Like what if we roll out on this day or try these new colors or seek out feedback, like what is going to work? And a lot of it is trial and error to kind of chase that initial, high of, okay, we've sold that. Like how can we now sell 3, 4, 5 units a day, and try to pull on the levers that we've learned through a lot of your tools, namely advertising. And you were mentioning it. Yeah, advertising is, I've had to kind of bite the bullet on that. It's just the name of the game, and and it's been a whole different beast to learn about, but it's so interesting, and it's such a helpful tool to just generate buzz for your business and to get units sold. I'm recognizing that there's a ton of value in that, even though an advertising sale is going to be, much less profit than an organic one. It's still equally as valuable, equally as important to growing and scaling our business.
And if I remember correctly, right, I helped you guys with your Amazon PPC campaigns a little while ago. Yeah. So I've mentioned this before on the podcast and on social media, but that's a service that I've been offering for a little while. I don't know how long, honestly, I'm going to keep offering that, but I just saw like how important PPC was. And I saw so many people with like great products, great brands that weren't quite realizing their potential because of that, kind of advertising hump that they needed to get over. And I just really wanted to try to help people with that. And guys, still to this day, let me just like reiterate how important more marketing, more SKUs, right? That's like my theme song that I just keep saying over and over. How important Amazon PPC is. To this day, 4 years later for our brand, 60% of sales come from Amazon PPC. 60%. More than half of our sales are coming from advertising. And for most people, when you're first starting, about 80% of your sales will likely come from ads. So when you think about that, if you're only selling 2 units a day, like you launch, you're selling for a few weeks, and you're like, I'm only selling 2 units a day. This is lame. You very, very realistically could be selling 10 units a day, 8 of those coming from ads. Now, like you mentioned, it's not going to be super profitable from the get-go. It's not going to be super profitable. But here's what I want to talk about. Sorry, I'm getting on a little teaching rant here really quickly. This is a very, very important concept that you have to digest. Think about it from the eyes of a customer. Customer types in your product. They see the search results. You are camped there, maybe because you have an ad, right? So you're camped there on the search results on page 1 for your ad. You have 3 reviews or 10 or 15 reviews, and you're selling for $30. Right next to you, or if you're on mobile, right under you or right above you is a competitor selling very similar product. They're selling theirs for $15, half of what you're selling yours for. They have 800 4.5-star reviews. Think about this just from the eyes of the customer, guys. The likelihood of getting someone to take a chance on you as a more expensive product with far fewer social proof, that chance is just like of them taking that, right? Of the odds of them taking that chance is just really, really low in the beginning. We do the same thing. Like when I go to shop for stuff on Amazon or I'm in the store, it's like, or I'm buying a software, a tool, whatever it is, I'm looking for what is the value? Like, what is the value, right? So it could be really expensive, but it could still be a great value, or it could be really cheap and great value. And then I'm looking for social proof. Now I know that reviews are like a little inflated these days, and influencer marketing is like, getting a little, what's the word? Like less trusted. I don't know a good word for that. But still, at the end of the day, as humans, we want reassurance that we are buying the smart thing, and we get that through social proof. So understand, guys, your ads are not going to perform super, super profitably. You'll get sales, may lose some money. You got to bite the bullet, like you said. But think about like the downstream impact. And this is what I literally, for us, when we launched and we were getting sales for 120% ACoS, which means like I'm losing money every time I sell a product through ads. But I think about the downstream impact. Literally, this sounds crazy, guys, but this is literally what I did in my head. I imagined, I'm like, okay, I got a sale from ads. I lost $5, $10, whatever it was on this sale. But someone right now in this moment, or 2 days later, I guess, with Prime shipping, is putting my bandanas on their dog, and they're being wowed for the first time, and they're taking their dog out for a walk. And someone at the park is saying, oh my gosh, I love that bandana is so cute. Where'd you get that? And they say, I just bought it on Amazon. It's called Remy and Rue. That's what I'm telling myself, right? That's what I'm envisioning. Or they're posting it on social media, or a friend comes to the house and they see it, right? That's the downstream impact of every single sale you make. The potential for building the brand awareness, the brand reputation, the word of mouth marketing. Not every person is gonna tell their friend. Not every person is gonna have a stranger ask them at the park. But you play the numbers game. If 100 people buy your product, the odds that 5 of them tell their friends or 2 of them run into someone at the park go up. So the more you get your product out there in the world, you just think about it just like spreading like a wildfire. Maybe I shouldn't say wildfire. Spreading like a field of daisies. I don't know, but like, you know what I'm saying? So think about that when you're playing the long-term game with with your advertising. Janaiah, going back to, you can think about this from the whole journey you've been on so far, right, with your brand, whether that was during like the initial startup, like trying to find a supplier, or even after the launch and trying to, figure things out and get things right. What has made the biggest impact for you on, this is maybe a loaded question, like, what do you think during this whole business journey has made the biggest impact for you on continuing to push forward through the challenges, figuring out the challenges and just like sticking to the process, right? And having the faith to just like keep going for it. What do you think has impacted you the most with that?
So I think a few things, but what's been just a natural byproduct of having our social media strategy is just reaching out to, parents, but mostly moms, right? Moms that take their kids outside, they go to the beach, they go to the pool, they're involved in their everyday lives. Like, I think what's kept me motivated is just the positive feedback and the engagement that I've gotten that has pretty much kind of created a small community around our brand. And that's just something I never expected to be so important to me, right? But I've met a ton of great people. I've interacted with a lot of, I guess, like micro influencers, as you would call them, but a lot of really great, genuine people that share a lot of my experiences as a mom, as a parent, and that really is keeping me going and giving me a lot of ideas. I think something that I totally underestimated is not having enough ideas for new products or new features on the products and how valuable that feedback is. So like we're coming out with a new product because of the feedback that we've gotten. Like, people are enjoying our signature towels, but they want them to be thicker or be double lined, and that has kind of created our new line of towels that has done really well. And I'm involving a lot of these people in testing and feedback and doing Amazon purchases and leaving reviews. So people that are actually really helping the momentum of our brand and really helping us to keep going. One thing that was surprising to us is when we launched with our first 5 colors of our towels, the color that we expected to do the least sales was the first to sell out. And that was a huge eye-opener for me with like, okay, I only know so much. I only can assume so much. But by leveraging, the folks that are invested in our brand, invested in our family, and are actually engaging with how much we choose to engage with them is really valuable to the momentum of our brand and is really motivating for me and my husband to keep going and to see where this can expand.
Oh, I love that answer so much. I feel the exact same way, guys, about my podcast. Like, when I recorded my first 8 episodes in 2020, I think it was, I was like 8 episodes. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I pretty much like mapped out the whole thing pretty basically, right? So like, go listen to those. I'm done. I'm not doing this. But now we're almost to 300 episodes, really close. Right around there. 300 episodes later, I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm still doing this. But I'm not kidding you guys. The number one reason that I keep doing this and keep recording podcast episodes for you guys is every single little individual message, review that I get. Like, every week, without fail, at least one person sends me a DM or an email or message or something and says, Andy, thanks so much for the podcast. We started our business, or we're going to start our business, Or I read the review, right? I read every single review just because I just love hearing, people take this opportunity and like take a chance. And that's what really motivates me and inspires me. Like, holy cow, like I'm actually making a difference. And it's the same thing with your brands, guys. It's the same thing with our brand. Like, when we first got started and you're selling 1 unit a day, it's not the money that's going to motivate you. Let me just share some info with you guys. You will be no more motivated when you're doing $150,000 in sales every month than you are when you're selling $1,000 a month. You will not. I've been in both places. I've sold $1,000 a month, sold $150,000 a month for our brand. There will be no more motivation to keep working on your business based on money. Promise you that. Like, that will not motivate you. You need a deeper reason to stay motivated to work on your brand and build your brand and grow your brand. And that really, like you said, is connecting with every individual customer. Obviously, like, once you grow and you have thousands of customers, it's hard. But when you do get a message, when you do get an opportunity to talk to someone in public, like take advantage of that moment, relish that moment and that connection, and understand like, wow, I made something that helped someone else, or I made something that someone else values, they love, they enjoy it, and use that as motivation to say like, hey, I'm actually making a positive difference in someone's life. Even if it's like as simple as their dog looks cute in a bandana, or their baby has a towel, or, as simple as your product can be. But that feeling is what really, really drives. I'll just say one other thing really quickly is we don't do a lot of like brick and mortar, obviously, but we go to one conference, we go to Pinner's conference every year. And honestly, it's not worth our time and effort financially. We spent like $5,000 to build our booth. We pay $1,000 for our spot. Me and my business partner spend 2 days all day working and prepping, and it's so much work. And if we like really broke down all the costs, it's not worth it. Like, yeah, we sell a few $1,000s and we maybe sell like 10 grand over the course of 2 days, but the cost of everything is like, this was not worth it financially. But the reason we keep going back is because it is so fun as an online business, right? To face interact with a customer and see the reaction, or even see someone walk by and be like, oh my gosh, Remy and Rue, we have your bandanas. Like, that is such just like a profound moment of like, holy cow, this is like real. These are real human beings that are buying my stuff. Because when you're online, it's like everything seems so fake and virtual. Like, you just see a bunch of numbers on the screen. You don't see actual human beings, like interacting, like grabbing a bandana off the shelf and handing you money. You're like, whoa, this is happening 200 times every single day on the internet. But when you see it in person, and it just adds context, you're like, this is mind blowing how many people are buying our stuff every single day. So keep that in mind, guys. Connect with your customers. That's what really brings motivation. Janaiah, let's wrap up with this. Let's end with this. I mean, I think this is a good question that a lot of people like to hear an answer to. If you could give one piece of advice, let's think about someone listening right now that's like, this sounds so exciting. Like, I really want to do this. I have the creative itch, like, right? The situation you were in, but they just haven't taken that action yet. What's one big piece of advice that you would give to that person?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard this same piece of advice in a couple of your other interviews, and I hate to use the same piece of advice, but it really is the number one piece of advice I give, especially if you are an impatient person like me. Just start your journey, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in 6 months. For us, it didn't happen until month 8, right? But little things, it's just progress. You do one thing a day, 2 things a day. It doesn't matter how big or small those things are. Just chug along and make those little incremental pieces of progress, and you will get to a place that you didn't expect to see yourself at 8 months ago. And now I'm eager to see where the next 8 months, what the next 8 months has in store for us. If we can, scale to $10,000, $15,000 a month, that's what we have our eyes on. But 8 months ago, that was not our goal. Our goal was to actually get inventory on our doorstep. And that was, when that happened, we were like, okay, this is actually real now. So that's a definite piece of advice for me. Another one I think that I want to call out is care about your customers. I think something that's also really important, especially with our social media strategy, is the more engaged you are with your customers who find their way to your Instagram page or TikTok or whatever it might be, there's going to be opportunities to even make things right with customers. We got one bad review and it absolutely shattered me, but I was able to find this person on Instagram because she did reach out to me after I messaged her through the Amazon messaging interface, which was really painful to deal with, but she eventually found her way to our Instagram. I was able to make that experience right, and she then resubmitted her review and gave us 5 stars because of that experience. And I think that's one thing that might get lost in the mix, might get lost in the details, or just the hustle bustle of doing everything for your business. But at the end of the day, you got to really kind of be human and care about your customers that you want to get to buy your product, because the brand loyalty, the brand humanity is really going to make all the difference at the end of the day when it comes to good businesses versus great ones.
There's so many good little quotes, phrases, sayings, slogans, whatever, that you can live by and embrace that are make a huge impact on your business, any business really. And the one that I love is surprise and delight. That's simple. If you live by the motto surprise and delight, how can I surprise and delight? You're going to be successful. You're going to have a good business, you're going to have a good social media account, whatever it is. And for social media, like you were saying, surprise and delight can be as simple as responding to a comment. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I should probably respond to more comments, but that's a great example. Respond to a message, DM, repost, take a little tiny action to surprise and delight someone when they're like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting to get a reply to my comment. Little things like that. One of my favorites is the company Chewy.com. They sell pet stuff. They write handwritten letters. I don't know how many interns they got doing that. I don't really care. It still means a lot to us. Every time we get a handwritten letter that says like, we literally got a letter a week ago. Remy's birthday was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. We got a letter that said, happy birthday, Remy. Handwritten from Chewy. I was like, who does that? It was incredible. And yeah, does it take time? Of course. Maybe they got to pay someone, right? And get it. But like, and it's a small, simple thing. They didn't give me a free bag of dog food. They wrote me a letter, but it made a huge just impact on like, this is incredible. Little things like that, guys. Surprise and delight. Little ways that you can surprise and delight your customers, your followers, whatever it is. That's gonna make a huge impact, and right. And caring about them, you got to care about your customer, obviously, in order to do that. Janaiah, thank you so much for taking time to stop by the podcast. This is just for you. This is just for you specifically, Janaiah, but you're going to be shocked 4 years from now where you guys are at with your brand. I'm just telling you. Like I literally remember being in the exact moment in time that you're at with your brand. 5 months after launch, I remember how many SKUs, I remember where we were living, what our daily sales were like. Honestly, we were in about the exact same boat. 5 months after launch, 6 months after launch, I think we were selling about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Nothing crazy, $2,000 or $3,000 a month. But we just stuck to the process, kept focused on how can we get better, like you said, getting feedback, trying to improve. Our designs got better, everything got better. And then 4 years later, it's still just like mind blowing. Like where we're at, like this is crazy. If I went back 4 years and I, could see where we'd be 4 years from now, like no way. Even when we started and we were like, let's sell dog bandanas. I did all my Jungle Scout research, right? Because I geeked out about all that. But I never in my wildest dreams thought we could sell $1.7 million a year of dog bandanas on Amazon. If my 4 year into the, actually it was 3 years really when we kind of hit that mark. 3 years later, if someone came back to me, hey Andy, do this because 3 years from now, you're going to sell $1.7 million a year on Amazon just with dog bandanas, I'm gonna be like, you're crazy. So you guys like just keep at it, keep focusing on improvement. You're doing everything right. All you got to do is just keep going. Just keep going. And 3 years, 4 years from now, you're gonna be really shocked with the progress you've made. We'll drop links. I'll drop some social handles so you guys can check out what Janaiah and her husband. I totally forgot. I should give a shout out. Husband Maurice, what they're doing with Jade and Kai Co. Great products, great marketing, great social media. So go learn from them, support their brand. Obviously, for you guys that have little kids, babies, they've got great stuff. So I'll put that in the description right here in the podcast. One more time, Janaiah, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast.
Thanks so much, Andy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. If you guys could do a huge favor and show some love to Janaiah and Maurice by just simply sharing this podcast episode with maybe a friend or family member, or even, reposting it on your social media, that would mean the world to us, to them, get their brand out there, help their brand, continue to build and grow. So again, thank you guys for all the support, for listening to the podcast. My name's Andy. You're listening to Selling on Amazon with Andy Isom. We'll see you in the next episode.